and welcome to Otterwood Cottage, where we're building a brand new smallholding in the heart of the Lincolnshire countryside. I'm Emma and we're delighted to have you along with us. You join me at the entrance to the Polytunnel today. I am going to take you in there in a moment, but I'm trying to stay out as much as possible. It's only 10 in the morning, it's already registering over 30 in there. This heat wave is fantastic, but my word, it is making it hot in there, which is the point, I guess. Right, what I wanted to share with you today is a new addition in the Polytunnel, which we are hoping will make life easier, but which I'm also a little bit hesitant about, and I'll explain why in just a second. So I'm going to take you in and show you what it is, and then talk you through some of the other things we've been up to this weekend. So here is the new addition, which is a soaker hose system to help us with watering here in the Polytunnel. So it's one continuous soaker hose. It starts here, goes all the way up that side in a wiggly waggly motion, across the path at the end there, down this end, across the path here, and then up through to the top there. It was a 50-metre soaker hose. We bought two of them because we're also going to pop one in the brassica cage. But we did have to take a tiny bit off the second one. So I've connected a piece just here. So there's the connection. So that extra, I don't know what, couple of metres is from the second soaker hose. So we've got effectively 52-ish metres of soaker hose in here. And it is a really simple system. I've just tagged it into the ground using these metal pegs to keep it level on the ground, and we've wound it around all of the plants to try and get maximum water near to the roots of each of the plants in here. Now, the reason I said I'm a little bit hesitant about that is the benefits are obvious. It saves having to stand in there and water. It saves time. We can just plug the hose in at this end, although we're going to make some changes to that, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But we can just plug the hose in here, turn it on at the tap, at the pump, and then leave it be and come back later all watered. There's two reasons I'm a little bit nervous about that, and I have a hesitation that I might regret this. The first is that, knowing how my memory works and how easily distracted I am by other jobs that need doing, there is a very real danger that I will turn the water on, forget I've turned it on, and then A, waste loads of water, and B, cause a flood in here. Although it would take a very long time, I think, to cause a flood. I'm getting around that by trying to remember when I turn it on to use my watch to set a timer to remind me to go and turn it off. But there's still every danger I'll forget to do that bit, and then we'll have a small disaster. That's the smaller of my two hesitations. My second hesitation is I've always been a little bit reluctant to automate anything on the smallholding because of the fact that getting up close, watering is one of the things that you have to do regularly. If you don't, everything dies, obviously, particularly undercover. So you have to do it regularly. You can't just not do it. So it makes you come out here, or it certainly for me makes me come out here and gets me up close and personal with the plants. And it's while watering that I see the tomatoes that need tying up, or the peppers that are ready to harvest, or some weeds that need pulling. Although actually we've been really lucky for weeds in here, less so in the brassica cage, but I think because we'd had the black plastic down in here. I digress. That is when I get up close and personal. I see what's happening, I get excited about seeing stuff growing, and I notice. So a big part of keeping on top of smallholding life is just noticing what's happening and reacting to it in the moment. We all have lots of plans, we're all thinking about what we want to do, but actually you have to be reactive a lot of the time to what's happening. So we chatted it through, and ultimately the watering burden, particularly because of the drought that we're having, has become so high that it became clear we really did have to automate. It takes, because of the scale we're working on, and because of the way we water less frequently but deeper. So in here it's every 2 to 3 days, depending on how sunny it's been, and outside it's every 3 to 4 days. but it does take upwards of 2 hours now to be stood out here, and you obviously have to wait for it to be evening because it's too hot during the day to water. So it's becoming quite a kind of burdensome thing to do, and it's preventing us being able to use that time to actually do those things I just mentioned. So tie up the tomatoes, pull the weeds, harvest the crops. So I'm seeing what needs to be doing whilst watering, but then not having the time to do anything about it. So we went for it. We went for we looked at a few different systems and solutions to watering in the polytunnel. This was the most cost effective and the simplest, and as you may have gathered by now, I am a big fan of simplicity. So we've gone for it, and we are also semi-automating the watering outside when we do that by using a sprinkler, which we already had, and instead of standing and watering by hand with the hose, we're just moving the sprinkler every 10-15 minutes, and that covers the whole area in not too much time, and then in between those movements we've got time to get on with other things. So we've only just installed all of this. We'll see how it goes. I am a little bit worried I may regret it, but watch this space. It may be the best thing we ever did. I'm just going to show you now the change I'm going to make to this system though, and explain why I'm already thinking of changing it 2 days after installing it. So it is only a small change, but at the moment we have the connector for the hose at this end, and then as I say, what comes up, down and back up again. And at the moment at this end we have a cap. So it's capped off at that end, so the idea is that pressure builds up and the whole thing should water evenly. What we found, because there is a 50-metre length in here, is that this side and about halfway up this side is getting a lot more water than this second half. For obvious reasons, the pressure starts to lessen as it goes through 50 metres. Now, I thought about making it a circular system to try and solve that, but actually I think there's a simpler solution, which is to replace this cap end with another one of these hose connectors. And the kit that came with them did come with 2, so we've already got the stuff we need. It came with loads of connectors actually. It was quite a nice little additional kit. So by having the hose connector at the 2 ends, the plan is that we will alternate, so every couple or 3 days that we're watering, one time we'll connect at this end and the next time we'll connect at that end, and then over the course of a week or a couple of weeks it will be evenly watered in there. So I think that's going to be a simple and quick solution. These take seconds to pop on. We'll pull the cap out and pop this on, and that should solve that issue. I will let you know how this goes. Other things we have been doing this weekend, we've been making some hay. I don't know if you saw the short that I popped up, but we hadn't really intended to do that. We don't use a massive amount of hay on the small holding yet because we don't have huge amounts of livestock, but we are buying hay in both for the guinea pigs and for the nesting boxes for the chickens. And by chance, the area that I've shown you before where Mr. H has been strimming around the trees, because the weather's been so fantastically dry and quite breezy most of the time, although it's really still today, that's dried out amazingly and made the most beautiful meadow hay. Looks exactly like the stuff we're buying in, and so we decided we would collect it up. So we've been raking that up, and the other area we've been collecting it from is I have been starting to strim a pathway through cow fields, which is where one of the places we walk the dogs when we're not taking them off the property. If we're just doing a quick walk on the property, particularly as it's been so hot, we're doing a kind of evening walk later on in the day, and we're just staying on the land to do that rather than take them out onto the road. And but it's becoming increasingly difficult to walk round cow fields because the meadow is getting so tall. So I have started to strim us a pathway to walk around, and I was expecting that to be really hard work, but actually, to be fair, 3 20-minute bursts of it, and the reason it's 20 minutes is that's how long the battery lasts on our battery strimmer, and I've already got a quarter of the way around, so it won't take long to get all of the way around. And then what we'll probably try and do is use the mower to keep on top of that and do that a bit more regularly. But that has also created us a nice amount of hay to be able to rake up and save. So we've been storing that over in the cow sheds, which is our kind of most obvious dry outside place to store it. Pushing the wheelbarrow, although hay is very light and the wheelbarrow wasn't heavy, but pushing it through thick knee length and in some places hip height hay has been in 30-degree heat was an interesting day yesterday, but very satisfying to see that build up, and good to know that it is possible for us to, without any special equipment, without needing a scythe or without needing heavy equipment, we can cut and gather hay, and if we wanted to do it on a larger scale, we could. The strimmer doesn't take huge amounts of time. It's the raking and the moving that takes more time than the cutting, actually, if we're lucky enough to have weather like this every year. Then it is possible for us to make our own hay for livestock moving forward. So that's a useful learning tool for us moving forward. The other thing I have been doing this weekend is creating some video content of some of the cooking we're doing to make use of the produce that's coming in from the house. I had been hoping to do those as these kinds of videos where I'm talking to camera. I've done a couple of cooking kitchen videos like that. But the trouble is, I've not really been able to do many of those, not because we're not cooking lots in the kitchen, but because it's quite hard to find a time where I've got the kitchen to myself and can film freely. We are a 5-person household. The kitchen is the heart of the house. Everybody needs to come through the kitchen to go anywhere else, and everybody's always doing things, cooking. And I don't want to tell people they can't come through the kitchen because, you know, I don't want a big red light saying filming in progress, don't enter, which therefore means I was putting off filming some of the things we were doing because I wasn't able to find a quiet time to be able to share with you and talk to you without interruptions. So what I'm trying to do instead is just film the process, not worrying about talking to camera or who might be coming through the kitchen, and then I'm going to try voiceovers. I've done a couple of voiceover videos. I don't know how they'll feel to you. They're very different to the normal style we do. I'm halfway through making one on apple jelly. I've finished one on our quick and easy tomato sauce, so I'm going to try and pop those up this week if I have time. So you can let me know in the comments of those videos when I release them whether the format is working for you, and if it does, then hopefully I can bring you some more content showing what we're doing with the produce coming in. So there you go, just a quick catch up on our weekend. I hope everybody is enjoying the lovely weather, and I will see you all next week. Bye!